What's up, Power Warriors? Today is Tuesday, October 10th, 2023 already. Wow. My name is Jarrett McAllister, the virtual solar pro. And if you're watching this on YouTube, like the video, share with your fellow solarpreneurs, and subscribe to the channel. It helps everybody out. Today, we are doing our Tuesday training, and I'm running solo today, man. So this is what you got. Actually, I'm going to be with my co-host for today, fill in Mr. Christopher Callier. Christopher, where are you, bro? You on the call?
What's going on, Mr. McAllister? I'm getting back to work. We just spent 3 weeks away. We were in Belize for 2 weeks. So I guess, I got to get back to work. So you might as well have me on the call.
Yeah, let's rock and roll, man, because the other two studs are out like traveling Europe and, drinking nice coffees and going to breweries and taking strolls. And yeah, Mr. Tom Cotter, I think he's in London. I think his wife was getting a little tatty tat on Facebook. I saw that. And then who knows where Bernasso is? We should play that game. Where in the world is Jonathan Bernasso? Have no clue. But with that being said, man, we're going to go ahead and jump into it this week as we do every week. Let's get into some success stories. So if you have a success story from the past week, you closed a deal, you have a new team member, you overcame some adversity, share it with us. We'd love to hear from you. Barry Besser, first one to raise his hand. What's up, Barry? How are you?
I'm doing okay. It's been a while since I've been on these. Usually I'm not available anymore on Tuesday morning, so I'm watching the replays all the time. So it's good to see all your faces live and in person. So that's good. It was great to meet you in person finally at the Power World as well, Jarrett.
That was awesome.
And a number of other guys here and gals. In any event, so I had another ambassador join. I got a utility bill, and I'm preparing a proposal on a former colleague from when I was in HVAC. So we'll see if I can bring them aboard. And it was kind of funny because after Sunrun, I went to Semper Solaris for about a month before joining Power, and I still had all their numbers in my contact list, and I got by accident a call from one of the Semper Solaris guys that was on my team that was trying to reach somebody else and got me instead. So maybe it was meant to be, because at the end of that long conversation that we had, I sent them Jonathan Brunasso's 15-minute video. We'll see what happens with that. So maybe we'll bring him aboard. So.
Right on. Love it, man. Taking action, signing up ambassadors, potential new team members, rocking and rolling, grabbing bills, dude. Great job, Barry. And yeah, likewise, dude. It was great seeing you at Power World. That's what I love about these events. Is when we live in this virtual world, but when we all get to come together in person, it's incredible. Thank you for sharing, Barry. Owen, what's up? Is your success story talking about the Niners just curb stomping the Cowboys?
No, I'm all business, man. Cynthia made me put me back in my place. So first success is Scott Crum, I don't know if he's on the meeting, but he had to recruit Steve, and he needed help with a Sunnova battery job. So he sold his first job, and I got to help him sell it. So we sold a Sunnova with a Franklin battery. So it's his first sale. So congratulations to Steve. He's not here, but in spirit.
Beautiful.
In Fresno. And what's really cool is I'm a solar pro. Christopher Callier connected me with the installer, so I requested them as the installer. So pass it all around. The other success, sold a deal about a year and a half ago in Virginia, in the western part of Virginia near Virginia Tech. Gave me a referral, closed it. We're doing the roof and solar. If you're not trying to sell out of state with Power, I don't know what you're doing, because I've learned more about geography of United States from Power than any other class I've ever taken. So much love to the people in Virginia. Good state to sell solar in too.
Love it, bro. Thanks for sharing that, man. And something he just mentioned, which I don't know if anyone caught, is that here on the Power platform, if you have a Power Pro account, you have the luxury of selecting your own installer, right? And so as you know, go through this solar journey, you're going to have relationships with specific EPCs, and you have the flexibility to select those ones in your market. which is a great perk. I know few of you guys take advantage of that, especially in the next couple. Bill, go ahead. You have your hand raised.
Yeah, Dr. J, what's up, bro? Hey,
What's up, brother?
I am I don't know, can I think I can I'll undo my hand later. Anyway, I'm without home internet, so I feel naked. I don't know, just before this meeting that my internet went down, so I don't know what's up with that. Anyway, on the phone, let's see. I was gonna say in response to Owen, absolutely being able to work around the country is without exception one of the better parts of power. I got 3 jobs right now, work going on in New Jersey, Maryland, just all around the country. But I just have a new consultant, I believe, on hopefully on the call today. Syed, want to welcome him. We are rocking in this world, this virtual world called Power, and I got 2 jobs. I did my first Everbright proposal job this week, so that's pretty cool. Very excited about what's happening on the platform and what's going on in power in general and where we're going, because it's time to ramp it up again and hit level 2. So there you go. I wish my brothers in arms across the pond good fortune.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing, Bill. Appreciate you, my man. All right. We have time for 3 more. I got Jordan, Elise, and then Christopher Perez. Jordan, you're up, bro.
Hey, man. So just speaking of just the enterprise relationship, I just love that aspect. I got a couple wins last week. A lot of proposals I've been doing for my enterprise installer and their team, bringing on new pros. Just trained up another new pro as a seated seller over the weekend. So he's running some deals through Power, moving over from Coda, which is cool. But yeah, last week I did 2 deals, one in Illinois, which I thought was really my first one actually in Illinois, which is great. I love those SRECs. Just took me a second to figure out the nuances. That did that through Vision cash deal. Gotta love it. Just it was easy. And then my biggest, and you know what's coming, my biggest one that I've ever done project through my enterprise installer, just a lead. They had the relationship, cash deal, $168,000, 38 kilowatt system, 96 panels. We went from 3 spans to 4 spans per their request. I don't know how that's going to work, and 4 batteries. And now I'm going to be up for probably the next 3 to 4 months. So that was a commission set of north of 40 grand, just in margin, which is incredible. So
Jordan, my man.
I'm not out, man.
That,
remember when
bro?
I used
That
to do
is
expansions?
That is impressive. Yeah, that's like 20 expansions all put into one. Those
Oh
are
my gosh.
nice, huh?
Yeah, it feels good. It feels good to kind of be doing some of these bigger ones. So we got some more lined up. So NEM 3 who?
Yeah, exactly. NEM 3 is nothing unless you talk about it and bring it up like a thing. Just like when we went from NEM 1 to NEM 2, people thought it was the end of the world. NEM 2 was freaking fantastic, right? NEM 3, the people that you talk to really don't know any different. This is just how the solar world works. But man, let me just throw it back to you. Jordan, you're absolutely crushing it. That is a monster. Great job on that, dude.
Thank
Super
you.
proud of you. All right. We'll go Elise and then Christopher.
Yeah,
Elise?
hi everyone. I'm a fairly new solar rep, and Bill Connolly has been helping me tremendously. And I just signed up my first lease through Everbright with Bill's help. 85-year-old lady. She's very astute, very with it, though she doesn't use a computer. So I drove out to her house and helped her sign all the documents. And she's thrilled. She's going to save about $100 to $200 a month on her bill, and she couldn't be happier.
That's awesome. I absolutely love that. You know, the lease option, especially for our retired community, it makes all the sense in the world. They usually don't have a tax liability. Just lock in a flat rate and saving. Could you guys imagine being retired and saving, anywhere between $2,000, $2,400 a year on your utility this year? I guarantee she's got to live another 15, 20 years, right? Over the time, it's just going to increase that's a lot of money, you guys, especially for someone on a fixed income. So great job, Elise. And great job, Bill, helping her out with that. Appreciate you guys. All right, James, you know what? I'm going to, well, no, Chris, you're up, and then we'll go James. I'll let you cap it off. So Chris, what do you got, bro?
Hey, how's everybody? Glad to be here as always. I know I'm not much of a contributor lately, but signed 2 deals last week. You know, like always said, Massachusetts, that area, Virginia, it's a great area. I recruited a seller there, a solar pro from Sunrun also. That's another win I had. Signed a deal there. Finally used Vision one time, you know, learning Vision myself, and finally ended up using it. Vegas, still a hot market. We had 2 installs last week, 27 days, 45 days, both 13 kWs over Saturday and over Thursday last week. So you want to sell, you know, in a market that's fresh and new and kind of like not a long wait. This is the market to be. That's it, brother. Thanks. Appreciate you guys always.
Thank you, Chris, man. And yeah, dude, you are absolutely crushing that Vegas market. For those that don't know, I don't know, just put this out on the internet and let everybody know. Dude, it's like you can get an install done in like 3 weeks, 3-4 weeks, done. Glass on the roof, just knocked it out. It's incredible times. I will say it is extremely competitive. Good luck if you're knocking on doors out there. So nobody wants that. But man, it's an incredible market and the rates are going up. You got great net metering. So right on, Chris. Great job there. And then James, we'll go ahead and just wrap it up with you. What do you got for us?
Hey, Jared. Hi, everybody. I just recently learned how important it is to be resourceful and thinking on our feet quickly. My friend Kevin in Boston, him and his son were all on board to get their triple decker with solar. And his wife, though, was hedging, researching. He was doing all the research and, you know, Googling it and all the rest. So finally I said to him, Kevin, why don't you get it on your first floor along with your fourth meter, have her see it, have her actually see what it's like rather than us just talking about how great it is. And he agreed. And he said, yeah, have 12 to 14 panels put on, which we were thinking of anyhow. And he said, look, once she sees it, she'll come on board. So, you know, it taught me a good lesson that sometimes we have to just, you know, be resourceful.
Great job, James. Love it, man. And yeah, you're going to lock that one down, dude. So I appreciate everybody sharing their wins this week. I've seen a few in the chat, but let's go ahead and move on to this week's topic of discussion, shall we? So
Jared.
Oh, is there someone else?
Can I jump in real quick? This is Tammy.
What's up,
Arizona.
Tammy?
Hey, hi, good morning. Hey, listen, I just have an urgent issue because the Arizona Corporation Commission is trying to undo the value of solar. And I've been posting about it, but I'm going to post some stuff in the chat. If you could get on these a couple of links I'm going to put on here and just especially the first one I posted already, only takes a couple minutes. We have got to stop this. They're literally trying to roll back the guarantees that we've already have in place that were voted on in 2017. So it would basically drop the buyback almost immediately, potentially. And also they're talking about maybe even undoing the grandfathering protections that are already in place for people. It is draconian. It is horrible. It is irresponsible. And it's going on right here. And tomorrow morning, there's a press conference and a meeting at the Arizona Corporation Commission. I will be there and we need your help. So everybody jump on the link that's a Solar United Neighbors link. And then I'm going to post a couple of other actions here in a minute. There'll be about 8 different actions you can take. You can jump on by video conferencing if you sign on at least an hour in advance for the meeting. So I'm going to put that link on. You can call in and testify. You can just do the email. There's an email pre-written if you want to do that. Ideally, you kind of personalize it. And then there's there's different action items I'm going to post in the chat. So happening tomorrow at 10 o'clock Arizona time. So wish us luck.
Wow. Hey, Tammy, thank you so much for sharing that with everybody. You guys, that is extremely draconian. We have these corporations, government, they have too much power over your energy and what you guys, I mean, you guys own this solar and they are going backwards with this. And if you think that This is only in Arizona. You
It's
guys, this has to be stopped because this spreads to other states. Tammy posted the link in the chat. Please click on it. Please engage. Make your voice be heard. It is power of the people. It's not easy, but it's a fight. It's a fight worth fighting. And I'll make sure to get this uploaded onto the channel today. Get this word and message spread as fast as possible, because that would be absolutely devastating for Arizona Solar.
Yes, thank you. I think some of the California, this all reverberates throughout the country.
It does.
And Bobby, I sent it out to Bobby, and he got it posted. It is the #1 action item on power.com. If you click it right now, it's the top of the list. So he was kind enough to get that run up the chain. So if you forget, it's power.com. It's the #1 action item.
Don't get me started in corrupt Arizona politics, but that's a whole nother story. But yeah, you guys, please take action. Click on the link. Do everything that you can. Make your voice be heard. Because Larry, you said it in the chat, man. This reverberates through other utilities across the nation. It's draconian. It's authoritarian. It takes away power from the people. Yeah, it does set a precedent.
Set a precedent. And so when other utilities will go back and they'll say, well, California did an M3O and Arizona did this, why can't we do this? So we need to squash that, guys, gals.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you, Tammy.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. All right. Yes, Jordan said solar plus batteries are the future. They are, right? And why is that? It's because if you're producing all the electricity that you need, but with a battery, you could store all the excess to get you through when your system's not producing. You essentially don't really need the grid, do you? Right? I mean, legally, you got to be connected to the utility, to the grid, but you don't need them, right? You don't need to purchase it off them. There's no buyback from them. So you guys, I mean, NEM 3 forced the issue, but it's just kind of forcing us in the right direction. Solar plus batteries equals freedom. So love that, Jordan. Thank you for saying that. Now let's move on to our next topic. And this is where I got my man, Mr. Christopher Callier. He's going to go ahead and share. Dude, my boy's been crushing it lately. I met Chris, Bill, I think it was Leadership Summit. It was down. Was that January? Could have been. I think it was
10th of this last year. Yeah, you got hypnotized at that event.
I did. I got hypnotized. That was fun. You sent a picture of me with the teddy bear, but keep that under wraps. No, that was a blast. But dude, I remember seeing you out in front of Power headquarters, chopping it up with J Bud. And I was like, who the fuck is this guy, man? You were on fire. Dude, just going off. Dude, I'm going to crush this thing. And I was like, okay, who's this guy? New on the scene, just running his yapper. But then he's talking, and then he had the Seahawks fan hat on. I was like, ugh, I can't stand this dude. But you know what? The guy walks the talk, absolutely crushing it, showing up to all the events, putting up numbers, building a team. And I have the utmost respect for my man, Chris. He's become a good friend of mine. And I wanted to bring him on here because recently he's just been absolutely crushing it with what counts the most. And that's sales, right? He's been selling it. And the way he's been using it is where the market has shifted towards. And I know there's some resistance still with people, but you guys, now is the time. Jump on board. This is what's closing deals, and that's leases and PPAs. So without any further ado, Chris, I'm going to go ahead and give you the spotlight. And,
right on, brother.
Go ahead and break it down.
Thank you so much for those great compliments. I'll share my screen in a second here. I just want to talk about just some theory that I go through, when I take an approach to solar, because I really got started with SunPower, started December 2017. And then I saw a real progression. We went through 18, 19, and then, 2020, COVID hit, the rates started taking a dip. A lot of stuff was ownership in those years. And then rates started really getting low. And then financing became really the hot item. And I remember selling 0% with moderate dealer fees 0.49%. And the dealer fees really weren't beating you up that bad. So the value proposition with financing was there. And then we've seen obviously the shift into NEM 3. And, you know, I took some time off. I mean, it wasn't on purpose, but the business just really came to a standstill after April 15th. And then just kind of managing jobs and working those through, fell off every leaderboard in the company, which I wasn't used to because we were tracking pretty good on leaderboards. And I know Jarrett and I were competing for spots on that leaderboard as far as mentor, personal sales, and we dropped off, right? Well, not anymore, man. We're back. I hit the leaderboard, number 7 in the company. I didn't take out Mr. Bill Conley. He was a stud on that podium. But we're back, and it was a change in mindset. I mean, mindset is everything, you guys. So if you guys take away anything from this, it's all about energy. I don't care where you're selling. If you're selling in Texas, if you're selling in California, if you're selling in Nevada, Utah, it is your energy you're bringing to the table. So energy, posture, and confidence. You guys are solar pros. You guys know what you need to do. Get the utility bill, create that proposal. If you need to tag a tier 3 mentor, then do that. But again, posture yourself as the absolute authority in solar. And you are going to come up with a solution for a solar project. It's not a deal. Never get on the phone or get on the Zoom or sit with a customer and go, well, let's get this deal going. It's not a deal. If you guys are out selling Volkswagens or Hondas on a lot, that's a deal. These are not deals. These are solar projects. That's a homeowner and a client sitting in front of you. And so we really need to shift that energy and go, man, we have an amazing platform and we have really the best option out there. I just had a customer tag me on Facebook and said, hey, if you're looking at solar, Chris Callier is the one to go through. I went through Solar Sage. I got 7 bids and I didn't even know this. And I was like, holy shit, Julie, I didn't know you got 7 bids. She goes, and you were absolutely by far the most transparent and competitive bid out there. And I was shocked. I was like, this is awesome. And I always tell people, I tell all my sellers, I say, hey, don't worry. Don't worry. They're going to get that bid from Sunrun because they go, oh my God, my client has an appointment with Sunrun. I don't know what to do. Have them take that appointment. You let them know, when is that appointment over? I'm going to follow up with you. And you follow up with them. And now they have that bid right there for $20,000 more than yours, or $120 more on payment if they're doing a PPA or lease. So you guys have it in your hands right there. And we have the ability to shift and pivot. So if Arizona, I'm shocked that a corporation or a utility is trying to minimize the value of solar. I never would have imagined that would happen. I mean, I'm joking, obviously, because we just went through it in California. But you know what? We didn't skip a beat. The business is back. The value proposition is back. So I'm going to go through this because I was never a fan of selling leases because I'm like, ownership is where it's at. Ownership is where it's at. You own it, increase the value of your home, and you get total control. You get that nice tax credit, federal income tax credit. And the ownership is the only way to go. And then I started looking at leases more and more, and then the payment and the value proposition right off the bat. So does that make sense, you guys? I hope you guys are tracking with me. And again, if my energy can be, contagious, then let it be so. Because I want to. And normally I don't wear a hat, you guys. I got the Power Solar hat, but if you guys know, in an elite challenge, I actually shaved my head live on Zoom. So it's kind of coming back now. My wife is going to kill me for showing my hair, but I can almost part it. And
dude, it looks good, bro.
Put it into a flat top.
It looks great.
So there we go. Yeah. I gotta rock it like Jarrett and Larry are always rocking that short hair. But I'm going to share my screen. I did a training for my team about 2 months ago, and we really talked about winning the summer with Sunnova. And now we have to obviously include in Everbright. But I want to go through this. So I'm going to share my screen and just kind of go through this. And keep in mind, we're not going to talk about process so much as we are theory and what's working, okay? So you guys can see my screen, okay?
Yep, looking good.
We're going to call it Winning the Fall with Sunnova because there's a real there's a real top of mind right now with utility rates and homeowners, because whether you're in Texas or you're in Florida, those are hot seasons, and you guys are running your AC down there. But certainly we're coming out of a hot summer here in California, and people still have those $700, $800, $900 utility bills. The one I'm going to share with you, actually, his average utility bill was $1,132. You think there's going to be much of a value proposition there? Absolutely. So we're going to win this fall with Sunnova, and it's a matter of just getting out there. Because I heard from a couple sellers, they're like, "Man, the business is a little tight right now. I don't know where I'm getting my deals from." They're freaking out there. And so on this elite challenge that we have this point system we're doing. Contact 3 real estate agents a day, 2 homeowners, and 1 potential solar seller. So there's all kinds of different ways to go about that. But get out there and just hit the pavement. And if you're like Jarrett, I mean, Jarrett's inside. He's the virtual solar sales pro. However, he gets on Google and calls, people and outbound calls and calls into the California market wherever he's selling. You can do it at any way you attack it, but you just have to be active and then go after those different ways to get business. So how do I even begin a Sunnova project? Well, you get certified, right? Get certified, take the Sunnova certification. I'm not saying anything that you guys shouldn't know. If you're not certified and you want to move forward with Sunnova projects, then just tag a tier 3 mentor. A lot of us are very, very good at Sunnova. Okay, you go to the knowledge base, get certified, and then there's some information on how to get your Sunnova certification. All right, here's a project we're going to go through. Now, keep in mind, I'm going to base this on solo. So I've used Vision a few times, but until they say, "Chris, we just turned off your solo and now you have to use Vision." Okay, but I do know how to use Vision. The pricing, the system pricing is a little bit different. They break down, they have a few more subcategories in there, but essentially it's the same. So I know Jordan, he loves Vision, and he's probably like slapping me virtually right now because I'm showing solo. But either one works fine, you guys. You basically just have to know the system makeup, okay? And you can get the azimuth and you can get the tilt and all that kind of stuff in both Vision. It's a little bit simpler and laid out in solo. So let's go through this really quick for people that aren't familiar with solo. First of all, and Jared and I talked about this, don't request a Sunnova proposal from Power. If you want to tie your hands behind your back and you want to really position yourself where you can't create a new proposal on the fly, then order it through Power. But you don't want to do that. You want to build it and design it directly in the Sunnova system. Okay, so you need your PV system data that gives you azimuth, gives you tilt, gives you shade, and your solar exposure. And then obviously the number of modules. Modules is a fancy word for solar panel.
Yeah,
then you need
you
your
guys,
system
just
pricing.
really quick, Chris, we're not going to do a whole training on like how to build out a Sunnova proposal. We've done those trainings. You can actually hop on. Rachel does TPO training. I think it's every Thursday. Look at powercalendar.com. So we're not going to get into like how to make it, but what we're going to talk about is that value prop. Right.
Exactly.
And
so if you guys want to screenshot this, just so you know what the tools that you need are, that's great. And look at this. Look at that current utility bill, $1,132. So you have your PV system, right? You have your system pricing. Then boom, gives you your over to the right-hand side is your Sunnova proposal. Like Jarrett said, we're not going to go through that. That's a different time and place. Rachel McDonald is a pro on that. Jay Balabat is an incredible rep. I mean, reach out to him if you have any questions on it. We're going to design a system, 22.68 kW. This is a massive value proposition in California. If you guys are selling in California, you think, "Oh, I don't know, NEM 3, the value proposition's over. They got to buy a battery." Are you freaking kidding me? Watch this. We're going to show you some different ways. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say, hey, you know what? I know Jarrett is a big proponent of finance and cash. And Owen Carey is a big proponent of cash, as am I. I think it's still the best way to go. But if it's finance or lease, I'm going to position myself towards lease every time. Okay. And let's talk about why I'm going to do that. It's a few reasons, because the dealer fees, the finance charges that they pile on top of the financing are just astronomical anymore. and it really removes the equity from a home. It's a losing proposition in the end, unless you do a no dealer fee or low dealer fee, and I'll show you those. So let's look at a system. That system that I showed you, that 22.68 system, I just sold. We just did the site survey this morning before I jumped on this training, okay? A cash price of $91,087. Now, if he's paying $1,132 a month, then he's paying $15,000 a year for his utilities. It doesn't take long to make that back up if you pay a cash price of $91,000. So that's always the best opportunity. But how many of your customers and homeowners have $91,000 of cash sitting around? Okay. Now, if you do this on a 2.9 escalator with Sunnova, it's $492 a month. I just created a value proposition savings of $700 a month, you guys. $700 freaking dollars. Like, let's let that resonate. And they were in like immediately. So let's look at that conversely to a finance. If we finance this system, and I used SunGage, they're one of my favorite lenders. I've used them many times. That's all I ever used at SunPower. With SunGage, you got a personal representative. You can call at any time. You can text them. You got an internal account manager. They take care of any stips, any questions you have on financing. So if we're to finance this on a SunGage 25-year 9.74, you're talking about a payment of $637. If they don't apply their income tax credit, then the payment jumps up to almost $900. And then your loan amount is almost the same as cash, $95,871. Now, if you are like most kind of beginning toddler sales, solar sales reps, you're going to go, you want the lowest rate with the lowest payment. However, look what you did. You went SunGage 25-year 5.99, and your payment is $582. That's about $100 more than the lease. However, if you don't apply that tax credit, it will be $827. And look what you did to the loan amount. You just strapped on his home or her home another
$30,000.
15 plus 23, so $38,000, you guys. That's insane. And I want you to remember, like with this lease, that batteries are covered for 25 years. You have a 25-year payment, 25-year payment guarantee, a schedule of payments. So if they want to say, if they say, I don't want that 2.9 escalator, say, well, your payment's probably going to jump up about $80. So let's take a look at that in the schedule. And I'll go through that on the Sunnova proposal real quick. But overall, $492. It's a third-party owned system. You don't own it. You don't have to maintain it. They take care of that for you. They monitor at the same time you do. So if something's wrong, they notify you because they have a power production guarantee for the next 25 years. So I'm totally sold on it. It's very easy. One thing you have to remember, and I didn't put this in the notes, is once you, and if you've been in that Sunnova portal, it's so easy to run credit. You hit one button, email them the credit link. They just put in their date of birth, their social security number, and they get a pass or fail. Once you get that pass, you are done. You can send them docs and they sign and you're done. Now, what I do is I copy all the configuration details of that system, copy the client ID number that's in Power, not in Sunnova, and I send that to sales support, and I ask them to please send a DocuSign for a battery acknowledgement checklist. That's very important. I've done 6 Sunnovas very, very recently, and I did that on every one. We need to come up with a system, Jarrett, maybe you know the answer to this, where we can send that document ourselves because it's not in our pack of documents because we don't sign an HIC with a Sunnova project. So Jarrett, have you experienced that in California here?
You know what? On the one I did recently, Intake actually sent it out pretty quick. So I lucked out on that one. In Knowledge Base, I think there may be a blank document that you could download and then send it out. But
there is a blank one, but you'd have to
I would honestly just I would go to processing Intake as soon as you sell the deal, sales support, just say, hey, I need to send this out for now until we can send it out. But real quick, Chris, I wanted to touch on something as well. You guys, this is a massive system, right? We're talking $100,000 system. yes, I love purchase, right? I love ownership. But on a cash price of 91, 95, even with no dealer fee, right? That right there is a 27, $30,000 federal tax credit. There's a good chance they're not going to get that. Do you understand how much money you'd have to be paying in federal taxes net in order to get that, to be able to take advantage of that tax credit? Most people don't. If you make that much money and you pay that much in taxes, first of all, you got a horrible CPA. Okay.
Yeah.
You should not, no one should qualify for a $30,000 tax credit. And yes, you could spread it over 5 years, but this makes so much sense. So don't, when people, really don't tell people, oh yeah, you're going to get that $30,000 tax credit, and then to come, that's a lot of money to be on the hook for. So I just want to throw that out there. With a lease PPA, there is no tax credit you have to worry about. It's baked into the monthly and it stays flat unless you do an escalator. It slowly goes up. But just wanted something.
That's a great point, because Jarrett, think about it. When we give false information on the federal income tax credit, when we set up false expectations, who are they going to come to, and who are they going to really say it's your fault? You, as the solar professional, you're the one that's on the line. So don't give out false information. Be very transparent about the process. And a couple of things to remember, which I just had a brain drain last week on that training with Jason, is you got to put the Solar Edge Energy Hub in there if you're using the Solar Edge battery, because I was going with Franklin and I was going with the Enphase. If you're going to use Tesla, Franklin, and Enphase or Enphase storage systems, make sure you use the Enphase micro inverter. If you're going with Solar Edge, you got to remember to use that Solar Edge Energy Hub. And then let's say you have a 7.6 kW system, that's 7,600 watts. You can use that 7,600 central inverter, or even if you have a 10 kW system, because you can increase that by 140% for a central inverter, and then just match up the battery size and you're good to go within the Sunnova system. It's very easy to figure out. That's just something to remember. And remember, this goes along the same line as your federal income tax credit. If you're given false information, it comes back to you. And keep in mind, I hear some people say, hey, solar increases your equity. It doesn't increase your equity on an ownership. What it does is it increases the value. I owned a mortgage finance company for 8 years. So you want to really keep that in mind when you're throwing those terms around. Equity is your value minus amount owed. And your solar system could be considered amount owed on your debt to the home, because you're going to sell that when it goes into escrow, when you sell that home. So solar could create negative equity. If I gave this gentleman $123,000 system and he owed $500 on his home, and his home is only worth $550, I slapped $123 on top of that, and I just created negative equity by giving him that solar system. Now, if I give him a lease, it's transferable. There's no debt to income ratio hit. There's nothing reporting on credit, and certainly we don't know what the buyout is on that. We can look at a buyout, but the best is transfer that to the new owner, because they're going to be thankful for that $459 payment, as opposed to $1,200 or $1,300 on the PG&E side. So solar adds to property market value, not necessarily equity. So keep that in mind. And let me show you the last slide I want to show you really quick. And let's see, escape and go here. And this is something I use as a sales tool. I use page 32 and 39. So I go through the advantages of this, and they do a great job of mapping this out. New utility bill estimated 32, because I've got 3 Franklin whole homes on this system. Look at that. 3 Franklin whole homes, 22.68 system, and 107% offset. $492 payment.
That's actually a negative bill, isn't it?
Yeah, it says negative.
He's saying he's getting a $32 credit every single freaking month.
Yeah, it's insane. And so then if we go down to page 32, let me move this Zoom bar out of the way so I can see which page I'm on. All right, go down to page 32. And this will help you with your sales side on the system, because they want, they're like, just nervous of that escalator, that 2.9 escalator. Say, well, your payment's going to go up about $80 if we switch it to a 0% escalator. So look at this. Year one, you're at $492. Year two, you're at $500. This is guaranteed payments, and that really gives you stability and gives you confidence in what you're selling. Look, that $80 increase on payment is year 10 or 11, but in those years, you're going to get all of those savings. And say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner, on top of that, you go to page 39 and say, if you buy your system and you leave the breaker off for a year, you said, whoops, I didn't know my system wasn't producing. Guess what? PG&E is going to send you that $15,000 true-up bill, and you are on the hook for that. No one's here to save you. However, if your system is unplugged or the breaker trips, Sunnova will reach out to you and say, hey, Mr. McAllister, did you know that your solar system is not producing? We have a guarantee in place to say the first year your system's going to produce 29,000 kilowatt hours. So we need to fix that because they monitor it, you monitor it. That doesn't exist anywhere but a Sunnova lease. And that's 25 years. Now it factors in degradation, so the production guarantee goes down a little bit, but that doesn't exist in the ownership world. So with that, I hope that helped. And again, energy, posture, and confidence.
Love it. Thank you, Chris. I really appreciate you, man. Probably shining some light on some things that not everybody knows. I'll be honest. I mean, when I came into this, I came into the industry in 2019. Okay. So interest rates were low. All I knew about solar was leases are bad. Don't do leases, sell an ownership. And I believe that. I absolutely love that. It makes sense though. When money was cheap, money used to be cheap. The cost of borrowing money was nothing, right? So it made sense. Money's expensive, you guys. It's at 20-year high. Interest rates are through the roof. The feds are going to increase it again, and it's going to come back down at some point. But right now, people have to weigh out these options, and I believe in options. Me personally, when I'm going to go into a presentation, I'm going to show them what an ownership option looks like. I'm going to show them a lease option. And then I'm going to show them two different lease options. No escalator and a big escalator. And this comes from qualifying questions, me asking them. I go into this like, hey, I'm a strategist for you guys. There's multiple ways to make this happen. It's my job to help you guys pick the best strategy for your home, your family, your long-term, short-term goals. And, if they're only going to be in the house for a few years, go with the 2.9% escalator, right? If they're going to be in there 30 years, maybe they want to pick the no escalator cost. If they have cash and the ability to pay for it, right? If they have the liquid assets, there's not a better investment you can make with your money right now, right? As far as ROI. So I'm going to show them that cash option, zero dealer fee, take advantage of the tax credit. There is no one size fits all, but for most people right now, people are hurting, right? People are feeling the pain of the economy, high interest rates, their utility bills outrageous. I mean, Chris was just saying these guys were like $1,200, $1,300 a month. Imagine paying that much money per month. Locking in or dramatically, reducing your bill, $500, $600, $700. It's a no-brainer. You are helping these people. So, but it is all about coming up with the best options. I love you shining light on this. People do have some questions. I have some questions as well. And it's basically about like what people, I would say maybe objections that what homeowners come up with, because for the most part, when you mention a lease or a PPA, there's resistance there. They're kind of like, they're like bad words, right? People don't want it. Why would I get into a lease? I don't own it. I've heard. So I'm going to spitfire some objections to you that I wanted to know. And then go ahead and answer them how you would handle it. But one of them being exactly what I just said is like, at least I don't know. I mean, that sounds awful. I'm tied into it, and then it's messy. My friend's a realtor. She said, don't get a lease because when I sell the house, it's going to be messy and makes it difficult to sell it. I don't know about a lease, Chris. I didn't want a lease.
That's a great point. And you're so right. Leases used to be really messy. They used to be awkward. We didn't know how to track the leasing company. But right now, Mr. and Mrs. Customer, you're in currently the worst lease possible. And that's a lease with PG&E. You realize you probably have a deposit on in their office, and that was their lease hold. And then you have a month to month lease where it's double or triple what you're paying now. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to save you $700 a month, get you in a better lease. And I'm going to give you information on Sunnova. They were started in 2012 in Houston, Texas. They're a local company. It's a one-page document to transfer that lease over, and we make it very simple. As a matter of fact, we're going to put the leasing company's contact information inside the panel on your combiner box, so you always know where it's at. Your real estate agent's going to know where it's at. And we have a really easy process where when you look to sell your home, you actually notify Sunnova, and they get the name of the real estate agent, the escrow company, and the title company, which you're selling your home through, and they take care of the process.
Love it. Nailed it. Now you guys see why Chris is just absolutely crushing sales right now. No, that's great. Here's another one. I got, so what is, now, you know what? Chris, you're really sweet. My grandma really likes you. You know, you've been talking to her, you're going to save her some money, right? She's baked you these sweet chocolate chip cookies. You've been over 3 times. She wants to go with this, but buddy, she's 87 years old. You know, this is, you're trying to put her in a 25-year contract with a lease. I'm going to end up with the house, or, you know, maybe another sibling, or what happens if you in a lease and you die? What happens with that lease?
Yeah, so we're putting her in a more favorable position. When that home goes to probate, we actually notify again Sunnova, and the next heirs to that home are going to assume that lease, which we've already calculated that that's a better payment position than what she's currently in. Now, if she doesn't plan on paying her utility bill, you know, for the next 3 years or 5 years, whatever her life expectancy is, then that would make sense. But clearly she's going to have that bill to PG&E. And so we're just going to make her time on this planet much more enjoyable. And then we'll make the transfer process as easy as possible.
Okay. And so what does happen? Like, let's say, you know, she dies, the house goes into probate. They can't sell the house, or whoever buys the house has to buy out the lease, has to take over the lease. How does that work?
That's a great question, but I'll get my Sunnova rep on the phone to help you out with that.
All right.
Because I know it goes to probate, and then the estate would handle the payment on that. But other than that, I don't know. I mean, I guess after 5 years you could do a buyout of it, but I don't think that would financially make sense either.
Sure. These are actual real questions. And so, yeah, looking to know, but yeah, this is something that we should definitely figure out. All right. So those are a couple questions I had with the leases. Larry patiently having his hand up. What's up, bro? How you doing? Go ahead.
Guys, you know, I mean, I put my hand up a while ago, Chris. I just wanted to comment, you know, I mean, everything you're doing is absolutely amazing, but I also wanted to comment about what you talked about first on about slinging deals. You know, these are homeowners. We're helping homeowners. You know, I can't stand, I sold the 12 deals. I mean, it's like, I'm glad somebody else is thinking about this too. You guys, we should really start to clean up our verbiage when we talk to people, when we're talking to our friends, even on Facebook and like LinkedIn, you know, I sold 14. I mean, if I was one of your homeowners, would I want to feel like a deal, or would I want to help like someone that was helped by a solar professional?
Yeah,
absolutely.
I'm glad you brought that up, Larry, because words matter. And I was tagged as a tier 3 mentor, and he might be on this call, I'm not sure. I was tagged as a tier 3 mentor for a homeowner in Los Angeles area, and he wanted to get on a call before the call because he wanted to get in sync. So he goes, if we're not in sync, I'm going to pitch this myself. And I said, well, you might want to do it yourself, because I don't pitch deals. We use the word pitch deals. And I go, words matter. I'm not pitching any deal. I am presenting a solar solution and a savings report so we can build a solar project together. And it starts a project. Once you get a utility bill, you're not working on a deal, bro. You are working on a solar freaking project that could cost $70,000.
Yeah,
that's the biggest purchase outside their home they're going to make in their life. So if you want to sling deals, you
Go work
probably
for
wanna go work
Sunrun.
for Swift
work-
or
Go work for
Lyft,
Sunrun because they
or,
sell
you know,
they sell
Lee.
like cars.
Yeah,
All right, what are we slinging this week? What do we need to
Ex-
move?
exactly.
It's like a
Great
stick on a
point, Larry.
car.
That's
Great
why,
point,
Not doing
Larry.
that's why
Great.
Larry is one of the freaking biggest giant leaders in this company. And he'll never tell you. He'll be like, yeah, you want to go surfing today? He's one of the freaking dominating leaders in this company, you guys. He's the OG of power.
Yep, and that is a great point, Larry. And it is about mindset, right? And you, Chris, so true. Words do matter. And so when you change your mindset and your verbiage to helping homeowners, right?
Yeah.
Helping them, being a planner for them, not just another number. Owen said it in the chat earlier, right? These aren't customers, right? These are clients. These are clients. And there's a different, someone who walks up to you at Walmart and checks something out, they're a customer.
One-time buy as a
Right.
customer.
One time. Clients are lifetime,
Mhm.
and they refer their family, their neighbors, right? Their spouse. It goes on. It's a long-term relationship. And that's, you guys, this is not an easy industry. Thank God it isn't, because it weeds out the bad apples. But how you survive in this industry is through referrals. And that's treating these homeowners like clients and not customers. So great point, Larry. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
Owen,
You're welcome.
you have your hand raised, brother. What do you got? You have a question?
Damn boys, go
Yeah.
Cowboys.
Sorry, guys, I switched from the computer to walk the dog. He was getting angry. But this came up for me, Chris. I had a trust. When you look up when you put in the account on Sunnova, it says the house is in a trust. Previously, I used to just get the trust from the client and then just upload it on the Sunnova. But now they're actually sending the doc out. So the client signs the doc and then they have to sign it as the trust owner. I was wondering what your experience is with that, and if there's a way to make it a smoother process. Like, do we call Sunnova and tell them to send out that second doc, or am I the only one who's experienced this?
Well, I just did one, and it was in a family trust, but then the signer of the trust was also the client, and she was able to sign the docs as the signer of the trust. Maybe there's different trusts, like irrevocable trusts and, family trust and whatnot, but we were able to have her sign as a signer of the trust. And it listed both on the title, and I just clicked that and it said title verification done and allowed her to sign the documents. And we didn't have any resistance on that. The one thing that I love about Sunnova is I call the customer support or the dealer support and I get right through to somebody. They speak perfect English and they take care of it. If I need to send out documents, if I need to send out a credit link, because sometimes the portal messes up and they send it out right for me. They said, let me verify the email. Okay, it's sent. And then it's in my inbox for a DocuSign. But again, reach out to Jay on that. And Jay is very, very good about responding and getting back to people.
Perfect. Thanks.
To me, everything is customer service. If you can't respond, there was one lender that we had, I won't mention any names, but I could never get the rep to email me back. And I wasn't used to that because I'm used to working with SunGage, who I just text my rep when I was at SunPower and he'd get right back to me, or I'd call the internal rep, Nicholas Lee, and they questions answered. I don't want to wait 24 hours for a question to be answered. So if you call Sunnova up until 7 p.m., then they're going to get all your questions answered.
Right on, right on. Jose, you have a question for Chris?
Yeah, I have one that is probably from the old mentality of leases and PPAs, but it comes up every time. Liens on the title. People like immediately shut down. Well, is there going to have a lien on the title? And I know how to answer it normally, but I always have to Google it to get the proper verbiage. What is your approach on that?
There is no lien on title. There is no payment on credit. It doesn't show up as an inquiry when they request credit approval. And there is no lien on title. As a matter of fact, on a lease system, they do a light UCC filing that is not on title as well.
Perfect. Thank you.
That's great. And you just brought up another point, Chris, is the whole, it doesn't affect your credit. That's another huge, huge thing. Think about this. All right. If you were to make that purchase and the payment was $650 a month, right, with the high interest rate, that's $650 going towards your debt to income ratio. That's a lot, right? That can severely affect it. It can affect you qualifying for loans in the future. Here's another thing, you guys. If you were to transfer over the payment on a purchase, they might not. I mean, most people, when they're trying to buy a home in this environment with interest rates as high as they are, they're just squeaking into their debt to income ratio, right? Because lenders are trying to get them their max, realtors are trying to get them max. They actually have to now, right? It costs so much money to purchase a home. So they're just squeezing into that DTI ratio. If all of a sudden I'm like, hey, great, I qualify for the home. And they're like, okay, cool. And then you take over the solar payment and let's say it's $300. $300 could throw your debt to income ratio out of whack. Now they don't qualify. They qualify for the payment, but now they don't qualify for the loan. Okay. So now what's their option? The option is either they want to find somebody else to purchase it, which starts it all over, or two, they're going to have to pay off the system in its entirety. Right. So that's a major benefit, is not having that payment affect your debt to income ratio, and it doesn't show up on your credit report. Chris, you want to add to that?
That home is valued at about $900,000. Okay. So $900,000 house, let's just say they were in the market, they wanted to sell it in 3 years. Here's what happens. They contacted a real estate agent. A real estate agent then works up a purchase and sale and works up also a proposed HUD-1 settlement statement. And they put in the market value of what you're going to sell it. They put in escrow fees, title fees, real estate agent fees, how much you owe on the mortgage. And then they balance it out at the end. They said, well, you're going to get a net sum in escrow. We'll give you a check for, let's say, $80,000. And they're like, okay, $80,000, great. We lived here for a few years. That's fine. And then they do some more work and they're like, oh, hold on a second. We have a $123,000 loan on the solar. So in order to sell your house, we need you to write a check for $43,000 out of pocket. That could be a real life scenario. Now, conversely, if you do a lease, it's easy as pie. I mean, you're signing some transfer documents with Sunnova and you're taking care of it there. And this client specifically, he called me. He was concerned about getting these docs signed. It's concerned about even doing credit because he has 5 real estate investment properties in escrow right now that he's trying to buy. And he said, Chris, if an inquiry shows up on credit, the mortgage lenders start asking questions. They're like, what are you in the market buying? Why do these inquiries show up? Because they pull credit right before they fund those loan transactions. And if inquiries show up, they will put the brakes on it. They say, whoa. So this could have, if he was doing a finance agreement on the solar system, it could have blown apart his 5 investment properties. So that's real life scenario, guys.
Yeah. Great point. Jose, you still have your hand raised. Did you have another question, buddy, or is that it?
No, I didn't take it down. Thank you.
Okay. Cool. Right on. Anybody else have any other questions? Right now's the time. We'll stick around for a few more minutes. Hopefully you guys are learning a ton. This is inspiring you to create some leases. And Walter, you got one?
Yes. Hi, Sarah. How are you?
Raised his hand. I saw it. I was like, all right, there we go.
Yeah. I got a question, not necessarily a lease, but I did a proposal for a client that includes a battery and changing the main panel from the location to the garage. The proposal, the prices is there. It's like $50,000. He's going to pay cash. But in the documents to sign, the only thing they show is the panels, the battery, and the inverters. Doesn't show anything about the electric panel, doesn't show anything the location. And the client says, how you want me to sign this contract if you are not telling me what you're going to do? What is your suggestion? What should I do? I'm kind of stuck on that.
Is this on a change order? Is this on a change order or
No, it's not a change order. It's the first time.
No, it's
The first.
so I understand what you're saying.
pop in?
I understand what he's saying. So on an HIC, which is our purchase contracts that we sign with Power, you won't ever see the main panel upgrade on there because they don't actually know the equipment that they're going to use, because we do use so many different electrical contractors. So they don't actually have the specs. They just know it's going to be a 200 amp main panel upgrade. And they want the client to be able to claim the tax credit. And if they put all the specs in different equipment that the various electricians use around the country, it would cause a firestorm. The best thing that you can do is send an email with all of your contact information. It says, this is to ensure and guarantee that we are doing a main panel upgrade to a 200 amp breaker on your electrical system. And, you know, this email serves as assurance we are doing that, with contract number, and then put the client ID number in there. That's the only way I've found to assure the client and let them know we don't put that in the contract itself, because number one, we want to get the tax credit for it, because main electrical panels don't necessarily qualify to the letter of the law for the tax credit. And number two, we just don't know what all the specs are of the probably 1,000 electricians we have around the country as partner electricians.
Yeah,
So,
and real quick, Chris, because you know, not to correct you on that, but like, I wouldn't say necessarily it's because of the tax credit or this and that. The other, we don't list every single part on there. One of them is, I mean, we're not saying exactly what racking system they're getting. We're not saying, you know, we're not detailing everything, but if it's part of the project, we won't even be able to get the project done without doing it. Right. If it is a concern, I've never really had that come up, but if it is a concern, I personally just reach out to the project manager and I say, hey, they just want something saying, kind of like what Chris was saying, saying, hey, can you just guarantee them that they're going to get this? Nothing gets official until we actually install this thing. Anyways, we can't even apply for permits, you know, without your approval. We're not going to apply for permits without the main panel upgrade. It's just going to come down the line, because once again, we haven't even done our site survey yet. We need to take a look at your electrical panel. We need to even see exactly what it is we're swapping it out with. We might come out there and guess what? You don't even need a main panel upgrade. We might just need to derate your system. So there's a few different ways to handle that. Owen, you wanted to add something to that? Where'd Owen go?
But there is no project manager at this stage because we're in the proposal. I'm not being assigned a project manager yet. So who should I
would do the email drafted with all of your contact information with our company CSLB, and just say you're assuring them that the main panel upgrade is going to get done. And email is a binding contract.
Yeah. Oh, and you had something to add to that?
Yeah, especially in PG&E territory, I just think it's too bland to say 200 amp service. And what I would advise my client is that we may just do a Hawaiian tie-in. We can do a main panel upgrade. We can do a like for like. There's not just many electricians. There's just many variables of what we can and can't do based off
for
the
sure.
infrastructure. And we don't know that to get there. So Jared kind of hit on that, but the MPU is a pretty broad term, and most homeowners don't even understand how it works.
Yeah, I like Jared's terminology on. We're going to make sure that we ensure the proper upgrades are done to install solar on your home.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all part of the solar project. Hopefully that helps out, Walter.
On the subject of Unirac, check it out. I was at an install and I got my screen shit.
Yeah, we can't see that.
Yeah, crap. Anyway, Unirac has these new flashing things. It's pretty badass. So
thank you guys.
Real quick, we're running up against it on the time. Ben has a question. Ben, I'm gonna let you hit the final question, then we're gonna wrap up this recording. I'll stick around for a few more minutes after we wrap up the recording for open office hours. But Ben, what do you got for Chris?
Mine's pretty simple. I am just kind of newer on this. When do you guys do the credit check process for you? Do you kind of like lead that in the beginning and just do it at the moment of signing everything, or do you prepare for it and then wait, make sure it's good? What's your process on that one?
So right after I'm done presenting that full proposal, that one I showed you that has the 50 some pages, I move towards, hey, Sunnova goes on a real basic system. It's not debt to income ratio. They just think they just grade if you're a good if you're a good quality client to lend to. it's either a pass or fail. Can I send you a quick link and let's just run it and see where we're at? And then when we're ready to move forward, we can move forward with the lease documents. And then I email it to them right there. And then I say it's a very simple form, and we get a pass fail, and it literally comes back within 60 seconds. And then at least I have a pass fail in the Sunnova system. Otherwise, if I have a fail and there's no co-borrower, there's no anybody on title can sign the lease docs, then there's not much I can do, and I won't spend a lot of time with them unless we can find out a different way to do it. We've actually quit claimed somebody else onto the title and then got them approved with Sunnova that way. I sent docs to Sunnova and I sent them the deed of trust, and then they were able to get it done. But right at proposal, to answer your question, and then anytime after that, you can move forward with docs as long as you have a credit pass.
Thank you.
Yep. Yeah, Ben, it's part of the closing process, right? Present, have them feel good about everything and say, all right, hey, let's take a quick second, let's see if you qualify for this great promotional offer, and wrap it with that. Okay. With that said, I appreciate everybody coming on to this week's training. Chris, dude, you crushed it, bringing the heat, bringing the energy, helping homeowners, consulting, being amazing at, advisor, and just, for these clients lifelong. Larry, I love you, brother. And Chris, thank you so much. I appreciate it. That's going to be a wrap for this week's training. Next week, I think Chris is running the show because your boy out here, I'm going to be up in the woods hunting me a big bull. So I'll be gone next week. Tommy's gone across the pond with the Bernasso twins. So Chris will be holding it down. So that should be exciting. Thank you, everybody, for showing up on time, and another great week. Appreciate it. Love you all. Peace.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.